my favorite feature of the Amazing Pixel book, the first one that Google came out with, they sent me one for free. I never knew who sent it to me. I don't know if it was PR or Sergey or Larry, but it just showed up at my office one day. It had the most amazing feature, which was built-in 4G at the time. And I think they used AT&T or Verizon, and I turned it on. What an amazing experience to open your laptop and just have it connected. Do you have a chiclet expansion card that allows me to put my Google Fi SIM in there, my data SIM in there yet?
Right. That's not something we have today, but that is absolutely the type of expansion card that we had in mind as we built this. Like, it really is that every individual user has a different set of needs, and there's no way to build a one-size-fits-all machine. You've got to be able to allow for that end-user customization.
Now, why not put 6 of those chiclet expansion cards into the laptop?
Sure. I mean, ultimately, there's, design trade-offs that you take anytime you build a hardware product. In this case, going from 4, where actually all 4 of these have exactly equal capabilities. You can do video output, power in and out on any of these ports. We went to 6, we would have had to start to make some of those things behave differently. We would have had to compromise on things like maybe battery capacity or speaker quality.
And just as we mentioned before, you can get an HP Chromebook for $89 on Amazon.
Right.
Now that's on sale. It's usually $190, but the idea of one laptop per child, they did push the market to come up with that same solution. So mission accomplished there. Now, okay, if somebody's listening to this saying, okay, these expansion ports, I can do that with a dongle. I could just have dongle life, which is brutal. I carry like a little purse with me now wherever I go. I got a man purse. I got a Merce with dongles in it and all my little things, which is quite nice when I'm on a vacation and somebody's like, I need to. And I'm like, oh, and I pull out my little Merce and I'm like, what do you need? You need Lightning to USB-C. You need USB-C to Ethernet. I got everything. But there are other features here. What else can I change about my laptop if I choose to go with Framework?
Sure, yeah. So in addition to the expansion cards, there are parts of it that are actually just cosmetically customizable. And so like the display bezel, for example, instead of being glued on, is just magnet attached. And part of the reason for that was to make it easy to replace the display, like not needing to replace, half the laptop if you've, cracked your display somehow. But it also just enables this really simple cosmetic customization. So I've got, I don't know if folks can see it, but I've got a gray bezel on this one. We've got an orange one and some other colors in development.
Wow. So the bezel comes off and it's magnetized. What a brilliant innovation. So I have an iPad. I cracked the screen. Something goes wrong. I bring it to Apple. They're like, yeah, you cracked your screen. I'm like, no shit. And I'm like, well, can you fix it? They're like, yeah, it's $800 to fix it. I'm like, it's a $400 iPad and it's 3 years old. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, I could buy a new iPad for that. They're like, yeah, buy a new one right there. And you can't repair anything. So what you're telling me here is, hey, if I break this, I can fix it. No problem.
Right.
Or Apple says, okay, yeah, come back in 3 weeks.
Right. That's right.
You can also, I see when you order it, it comes with a screwdriver.
That's
so you
right.
send people a screwdriver. You can look for it if you want.
I think
we know what a screwdriver looks like. What does the scrupdriver do? It lets you open it up and see the motherboard, and then what can I change about the motherboard?
That's right. So you can actually change. Memory? Yeah. So every part of the machine is upgradable or replaceable using that single tool that we ship in the box. And so you basically unscrew the 5 fasteners at the bottom, pull off the input cover, and then everything's just a single layer. Nothing's buried under anything else. And part of the reason for this as well was that, if you've got, a flaky key on your keyboard, or, you spilled something, or you even want to change your keyboard language, you can do that just by swapping out either the keyboard itself that screws into the back of this, or this cover piece, which is, much simpler to replace.
What would it cost to replace a keyboard?
So something like a keyboard, is like $40 or $50. We're actually just about to start making replacement ones available through our web store later this month.
And does this all mean that if, let's say, some maniac wants to create a keyboard that's a little more clicky for writers and coders, they could make one for the Framework laptop without your permission, or they have to come to you and get your permission? How are you thinking about the extensibility of this with other partners?
Right. So, as we look at things like expansion cards, we've actually already released the design files openly on GitHub, just under an open license. So anyone, including an individual hobbyist, can go pull down the reference designs, pull down the CAD, develop their own card, and prototype it, and even resell it out to additional folks if there's interest in the community. We've seen some really interesting designs coming up already. But then as we look at the rest of the machine, that is actually the goal here. We want every part of this to be something that we can develop an ecosystem around and not be asking users just to rely on us at Framework to cover the entire broad range of needs that are out there.
Wow. So the first thing I thought of when I saw your chiclet and expansion slots was, wouldn't it be interesting if somebody made one where I tap it and it slides out a thumb reader, like a biometric?
Sure, yeah.
Now, you may not be in the biometric business, but there's got to be 100 companies who already have built biometrics who would build this for you for $30, and then I could use my thumb to unlock everything and authenticate. You're saying you are giving that business away for free to the rest of the world to innovate on this platform.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, we do have a fingerprint reader built into the power button on the laptop.
Oh, you do already?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Things like biometrics are things that you could develop an expansion card around.
Well, I mean, the other one is for people who really care about security. I've always wondered why GPS is not included.
Right.
And 5G. So if you had 5G and GPS, now your laptop, which is, a very important piece of equipment, if it was stolen, like Find your iPad, you could have it when it's in lost mode, or every 15 minutes, just turn on the 5G connection and say its location. So if somebody were to steal it, and you could put a dead man switch on it, people don't know what that is. A dead man switch is if you're driving a train and you push down to make the train go. If you have a heart attack, you fall down, your hand is no longer pushing down the throttle, it stops. So you could have a dead man switch, which if I don't use my laptop for 24 hours, it starts beaconing every minute.
That's right, yeah.
The location covertly, and then turns on the camera and the microphone and starts recording and sending you clips.
Sure, yeah, it's all
like
possible.
Whoever stole it.
Yeah, or on security, things like two-factor authentication or NFC or, other things like that. That's all possible as an expansion card.
We all know how hard it is to eat healthy when you're grinding on product sprints and trying to meet crazy deadlines. Well, now there's an innovative food company trying to help. Real Good Foods is one of the fastest growing frozen food brands in the US. They're making nutritious foods more accessible to improve human health. And they make all the food you love: Mexican, Italian, breakfast sandwiches, pizzas, and more. Everything is 100% grain-free, low in carbs, high in protein, and best part, made from real food ingredients. They are available in the freezer section of Costco, Walmart, Target, and 90% of grocery stores nationwide. When I found out about them, I went into my Instacart, I went out to Amazon, they were everywhere, and we've been eating the pizza. It's delicious. Plus, you can get them delivered same day by Instacart. Real Good Foods is healthy, convenient, and tasty. It's perfect for any lifestyle. Plus, part of their mission is to support food banks across the U.S., and they have a goal of donating 1 million nutritious meals. Nicely done, Real Good Foods. So, go to realgoodfoods.com and use the code TWIST for $15 off. Learn more and follow at Real Good Foods on social media, or go to realgoodfoods.com and use that code TWIST to get $15 off.